Hey, okay, so shalom. So listen, I want to get right into this, okay? Right into this. First of all, I just want to say something. All those rumors about me being sneaky and all of that stuff, I just dropped my wife off about an hour ago. It's 10 o'clock now that I'm making this message. So I'm getting this message to you all late. I started not to do it, okay? Just dropped my wife off. My wife watches these messages, by the way, okay? So she's aware that I was going to go somewhere, sit in silence, and make my message. She already understands that, okay? Nobody's being sneaky, nobody's creeping, nobody's doing any of those things, okay? But anyway, the title of this message is Perspective. The title of this message is Perspective, okay? Now, first of all, I want to say this. I noticed that a lot of people have, um, uh, a lot of people are having a perspective lately. They're having perspectives. It used to be everybody had an opinion. But the problem with an opinion is a view or a judgment that is not based off of factual evidence or not based off of facts or not based off of any knowledge. So we kind of want to stay away from opinions. Now, perspective is not quite the same. Now, let me tell you the purpose of having a perspective, okay? From what I've seen, from what I've seen, perspectives come from some perspectives come from ignorance and some perspectives come from arrogance. That's what I've seen. I'm not placing my own perspective on that. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think men really have perspectives. I think we kind of deal in logic and truth, which we should. See, that's the purpose of the chain of command. There's a lot of women out here that deal with perspectives. Okay? There's no such thing. Well, actually, I heard a gentleman say earlier, he said it about a week ago. He said, well, that's my truth. That's my truth. There's no such thing as your truth. That doesn't exist. There's only one truth. Okay? So what we need to do is, most of us as black people, is we need to come from off of the dysfunction of the arrogant and the ignorant dysfunction of having certain perspectives. Okay? So you have man, woman, child, Momo the cat. Well, you have Christ, man, woman, child, and Momo the cat. So from what I've been seeing, not just on social media, but as I come across, um, you know, as I come across, it's mainly majority women with perspectives. Okay, because men, we don't really have perspectives, do we? Because we kind of just deal with, well, what's that? Is that true? Was that not true? Is that factual? Is that based on? And then you have men who are in the truth. We simply deal with the scriptures. But I think that a lot of perspectives are happening because the scriptures are irrefutable. So people now want to say, well, this is my perspective and that's your perspective. So now people are saying that the scriptures is a perspective. The scriptures are not a perspective. The scriptures are the truth. Okay? So a perspective is a cop-out. Having the perspective is a cop-out because you're trying to go against something that's irrefutable. You don't want to go, you don't want to settle with it. So you want to call that, you can't call something that's irrefutable a perspective. If it's irrefutable, it's beyond a perspective. If it's irrefutable, that means it's true. It's no longer a perspective because in a perspective, I don't know why they don't have perspective and opinion here as synonyms. I don't know why they don't have perspectives and opinions as synonyms, because they really should be pretty much the same thing. But as I said, an opinion is really based upon something with no facts. So a perspective, you can have facts, I guess now, and then still view a perspective. So that leads me to believe that a perspective is based on interpretation. Because if some perspectives deal with facts, then that means it comes down to interpretation, which is a problem. Okay? So I want to give the intro here, okay? So the intro says, Yahuwah gives wisdom. From his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. So I think one of the problems that many of us don't, I think many of us don't understand the problem, okay? Which is that it always narrows down to disbelief. It always narrows down to, do any of you believe that it is Yahuwah, the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, the creator of heaven and earth? Do any of you believe that he's the one that gives you knowledge? Do any of you believe that? Okay, so whoever doesn't believe that has a dysfunction. And I know that made you angry, right? See, a dysfunction is anything that is contrary to the truth. A dysfunction is anything outside of the scriptures, anything outside of the commandments. Now, we all have dysfunctions. Excuse me. We all have them. Oh, we all have them. There's no way in the world I can sit here and say I don't have a dysfunction. That's crazy. That's insane. None of you will probably listen to me ever again if I was to claim such a foolish thing. I certainly have a dysfunction. So do you. Okay? So do all of you. And that's the problem. None of you all wanna come to terms with anything. A lot of women don't want to come to terms. I don't hate women. I don't hate black women. I love y'all to death. Okay? I just like to tell the truth. Okay? That's all I like to do. All right? Now, for the men out there that constantly give perspectives, okay? I got something for you all. All right? So now let's get to my first segment. My first segment is nothing. This first segment is called Nothing. Okay? Okay. Let's go to Genesis. And we're going to start at chapter 26. Verse 26. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. We're going to go straight to the first chapter. And God said, and Elohim said, let us make man in our image. Okay? He said, one day I'm going to have a lesson on just how deep the word us, U-S, and O-U-R, our, us and our is plural. There's only one Elohim. But one day I'm going to go into depth on just how deep that word us and our is. Many of you, it's going to blow your mind. There's only one creator. And it's Christ. But it's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind what that us and our means. So if any of you think you know right now, and I'm telling you, I would be silent, because I'm going to prove irrefutably just how deep that us and that our is. Okay? So Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. So God created man in his own image. So Elohim created man in his own image. The Creator created man in his own image. The Almighty created man in his own image. The Most High created man in his own image. Yahuwah created man in his own image. The big G, capital O, capital D created all of us in his own image. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob created man in his own image. I'm going to tell you why this is so important. And I'm going to get the mistake right out of the way. We're not going to go through the whole lesson for you to have to see the mistake. The mistake is your arrogance. See, no matter your religion, we all know, all of us, unless you're an absolute foolish person. See, because I don't want you all to take perspective and run with it. Because you can get so deep in a perspective and become so far left field that you begin to be foolish. So we all know, I think it's safe to say, no matter your religion, we all know, if you have any common sense, any of you, if you have any sense whatsoever, if your brain functions in the slightest form of fashion, then you know that you did not create yourself. This has nothing to do with perspective. This has nothing to do with opinion. This has nothing to do with how you feel. And this has nothing to do with emotion. If you're somebody with a brain, and I don't care how offensive this is, and if you want to put this into a perspective, then you're very, very stiff-necked and very, very wicked. Anyone with a brain should know that you did not create yourself. And the God said, let us create man in our image. So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim, he created him. Male and female created he them. So you black women and you black men, you have 5 hands. You have 5 fingers on 2 hands. You have 2 eyes on 1 face, 2 nostrils on 1 face, 2 top and bottom teeth on 1 face. Not you. That's fine. I'll take that. Most of you have both all your top teeth and all your bottom teeth. You have 2 ears on 1 face, 2 eyebrows on 1 face. You have a beard. Many men that are beginning to follow the instructions of Yahuwah, you're growing your beards. Okay? You have 2 lips on 1 face, 2 cheeks on 1 face, a forehead on 1 face. You have 2 kneecaps, 2 elbows, 2 arms, a chest, a back, a bottom side, knees, hips, thighs, ankles, feet, toes. All of these things are the image of a man. Now, so we already know Christ was a man. And if you're in religion, you have to know that Christ was a real man. You can't be a true Muslim and not know that Christ existed. Now, if you don't believe he existed, you're not a true Muslim. You all know that, right? You're not a true Muslim. The discrepancy is whether or not he was an ordinary man or not. That's the discrepancy. We're not going to go there. We're not going to get into all of that. I have a special scripture for y'all. I have a special scripture for y'all. What does this have to do with perspective? Okay? Okay. Let's go to Genesis 3 and 8. Let's go to Genesis 3. I don't want to use Revelations 1, 14 and 15 because a lot of you don't believe in the New Testament. I don't want to use Revelations 14 and 15. 1, 14 and 15. Chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. Because many of you don't believe in the New Testament. Let's go to Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3 says, hold up. Okay, let's go to Genesis chapter 3, and let's go to verse 8. I need you to listen to me very carefully, right? So we all know that we were created after the image of God. Okay, we're all there, right? Because I hope we're not disputing whether or not we created ourselves or not. I certainly hope that that's not a dispute. Because if you're somebody that think you created yourself, listen, please don't watch this ministry anymore. I don't even want you to watch my damn ministry. If you don't believe that you were created, cut my message off right now. I don't want you to ever look at my messages again. Okay? I don't have time for you. Okay? Because by all means, you can call it a perspective, you can call it an opinion, you can say that that's your truth, this is my truth. Many of you can say whatever you want to say out there. If you don't believe that if you're having a complication that you are a creation, this message is not for you, neither any message that I'm going to give you from this point forward. Okay? Now, many of you don't believe in the New Testament. So I'm not going to give a scripture from the New Testament. Now, if you're anyone that's in religion, you do know that you all have to believe in the Old Testament, right? Because all religions come from the Old Testament. Okay? I want you all to understand that. All right? Any and every religion is fashioned from the Torah, the writings, and the Psalms. Okay? Or shall I say the Torah, the writings, and the prophets. Everything that is cultural today, everything somehow comes from the Old Testament, even if it's twisted. Okay? Now, for those of you with sense, for those of you that have common sense, for those of you who know that you are a creation, it just said that God created you in his own image. So that means you have all the features that the Creator has. It's just that simple. We want to make this 1 + 1. We don't want to make this complicated. This is not a perspective. This is the truth. And this is the problem that you all have with the truth. It's irrefutable. Now that we got that out of the way, because we all should now be, whoever's watching this message, you should now be on the same page with me. You know that you're created. You have sense. You know that you are a creation. A creation of who? Of God. Now, Genesis 3, verse 8. This is after the disobedience of Adam and Eve. And they heard the voice of Yahuwah Elohim. Who is they? Adam and Eve. And they heard the voice of Yahuwah walking. I'm going to say it 10 times. 5 more times I got, right? Walking. I don't care how mad that just made everybody. Yahuwah, the creator, is walking with 2 knees, 2 feet, a hips, torso, soles, toes for balance, and a heel. 2 heels. Probably shrugging his shoulders. He's walking. 1 foot in front of the first foot, another foot in front of the second foot, just like you and everybody else walks, because we are created in his image and in his likeness. So in his likeness, meaning we have a soul, because he also has a soul. And our souls are outreaches of his soul. They're extensions of his souls, little tiny pieces of his soul that he distributes during every pregnancy, during the conception of every woman. And they heard the voice of Yahuwah walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves. They hid themselves from the presence of Yahuwah amongst the trees. And Yahuwah called unto Adam, Adam, where you at? And said unto him, where art thou? The creator of heaven and earth, about 5,000 years ago, was that close to Adam and Eve. He spoke to Adam. He dealt with Adam face to face. And he would later deal with Moses face to face, Abraham face to face. Well, he dealt with Abraham the way he dealt with Adam face to face. He wasn't face to face with Moses the way he was with Abraham. He came down in the flesh just like he did in the New Testament that all of you don't believe. So it's so funny that he's in the old. It doesn't matter what religion you're in. Okay? Many of you, some religions, it requires you to believe in some religion, it is a requisition. It is a requisition, or you are not true to that religion. It is a requisition that you believe in the Torah, that you trust the Torah and the prophets. It is a requisition, meaning you cannot deny it, or you are false to your religion. Because right now, I don't want any of your perspectives or your opinions. I want you all to listen to knowledge and listen to the truth and either reject it or take heed. So, the creator of heavens and earth is safe to say, I'm speaking to any of you now with common sense who know that he and she, who knows that he or she is a creation. You are created in the image of the Almighty. You are created in the image of who you all call God. So that means he looks just like me and you. In Revelations 1:14 and 15, or you can probably go to Isaiah 7:9, because that's another Old Testament verse. So many of you, I think it's Isaiah 7 and 9. No, Daniel 7 and 9. Daniel 7 and 9, and I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment, bam. This is the Old Testament. Daniel is in a vision. He beheld, meaning he saw. He beheld. It is a requisition that you believe the prophets. You have to believe Daniel. Now, if you're a Buddhist, you don't have to believe Daniel. But if you're a Seventh-day Adventist, Muslim, Christian, Jehovah's Witness, Judaism, even to some extent Hinduism, to an extent, because Hinduism is one of the oldest religions, but Hinduism got some wickedness to it. So, but in any event, in the two major religions, Christianity and Islam, it is a requisition for you to believe this, or you are not true to Christianity or Islam. It says, I behold till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair on his head like pure wool. Two things. The Ancients of Days did sit, which means he sat on his bottom, whose garments, which means he had on clothes, and he had hair that is white as wool. That same person is in Revelations 1:14 and 15, the New Testament that none of you believe in. Feet brass as if burnt in a fire, and his hair was wool, white as snow. The creator of heaven and earth, the creator that created you and I, is a man. And we all, black people, and everyone else that proceeded from Adam, Caucasians, Arabs, Chinaman, Japanese man, every last one of us are created in his image and his likeness. Well, the Israelites are really in his image, but everyone on this planet is created in his likeness, which is the reason why Satan is trying to make all of these clones, and we're not going to get into all that. But everybody has a flesh and a soul. Now, can any of you refute that? Or do you have a perspective on that? I'll be back.